Hello everybody, thank you for joining us on Empower Kids Club on YouTube. So moving forward, because the schools are opening and may not be opening anytime soon, we are going to be doing the Kids Club on YouTube. So each week we will be uploading a new video of the lesson that we would be doing with you guys. So feel free to check every week for a new video, and we'll also keep you updated. So I know in the Kids Club we usually do games that tie in with the lesson. So for today we have two special guests that are going to help us learn a new game, and then also the game kind of is teaching us what the lesson is going to be about. So if we can have a nice welcome to Mr. Snell and Mr. Puppy. Hello everybody. Thank you, Mr. Snell and Mr. Puppy, for coming along into our learning channel for the Kids Club. So I know we're really sad that we can't see our friends, but at least this way they can still learn what we were gonna learn whenever we would meet together. So I know you guys have a cool game to play. So let's show them what kind of game that we're gonna play. Mr. Snell and Mr. Puppy want to show you a game called My Turn, Your Turn. And I know I can't see you, but feel free to talk back to the camera, to stand up with your brothers and sisters if they're there with you, with your cousins or with friends. This could even be a game that you can play later with your friends if they're not with you right now, or your cousins or your brothers and sisters. So feel free to stand up right now, because we're gonna play this game together. So this game, we're gonna listen to Mr. Snell, and he's gonna give you directions to do, but we are not gonna listen to Mr. Puppy. So the rule of the game is when Mr. Snell gives you a direction, he's gonna say your turn, and then you only do the direction after he says your turn. But we are not gonna listen to Mr. Puppy, so that's part of the rule. So no listening to Mr. Puppy, but listening to Mr. Snell, and only doing the direction after he says your turn. So remember, you really have to use your 4 listening skills and your otoscope to focus to what Mr. Snell is doing, so you can follow directions completely. All right, so Mr. Snell, take it away. Touch your head. Your turn. Okay, so I hope you touch your head, but only after Mr. Snell said your turn. All right, Mr. Puppy, touch your nose. Your turn. Okay, so I hope you didn't touch your nose, because remember, we're not listening to Mr. Puppy. All right, Mr. Snell, touch your ears. Okay, so I hope you didn't touch your ears, because Mr. Snell didn't say your turn. And remember, we're only doing the directions after Mr. Snell said your turn. Okay, Mr. Puppy, touch your back. Your turn. Okay, I hope you didn't touch your back, because remember, we're not listening to Mr. Puppy. All right, Mr. Snell, one more time. Touch your knees. Your turn. Okay. All right, so if you did touch your knees after Mr. Snell said your turn, good job. That's some good following directions and listening skills. Okay, well, thank you, Mr. Puppy and Mr. Snell, for showing us this new game, kind of like Simon Says, but you have to follow directions and be patient. All right, so perfect. Let's say bye to our friends, and maybe we'll see them later. Say bye. Okay, perfect. So that was fun. So now you know a new game, kind of like Simon Says, to play with your friends and your cousins and your brothers and sisters. Remember last time what we met, we talked about focusing and how we use our otoscope, kind of like binoculars, but with our hands, in order to help us focus, and how not every single time that we try to use our otoscope, we can use our hands. So we practice on making it invisible, so it's still there, and we're focusing with what the directions that we're being given. So, and remember, that kind of also helped us when we were using the 4 listening skills, which are, what are they? Do you guys remember? Let's do them together. Eyes watching, ears listening, voices quiet, and body still. What listening skills did you guys have to use in order to listen to Mr. Snell when he was giving you directions? Want to feel free to shout it to the camera? Did you have to use your ears to listen? Yes. Did you have to be quiet in order to listen? Yes. Did you have to keep your body still in order to focus? Yes. And did you have to see Mr. Snell? Yes. So you used all 4 listening skills in order to listen and obey and follow the directions. So good job, my friends, good job. So I know that you guys remember we usually have a story for every lesson, and today's story includes a friend named Brianna. And so I'm going to show you the story, and I am also going to read it to you, okay? This is Brianna. This is her classmates here, and you see in the picture. And then her teacher is right there. Okay. This is Brianna. She heard the teacher say they were going to work on the community helpers booklet they started yesterday. Brianna quickly starts looking in her desk to find all the papers, crayons, and other materials she was using. When Brianna looks up, she notices the other students are doing something different. Brianna did not focus her attention and stopped to listen to everything her teacher was saying. Now she doesn't know what she's supposed to be doing. Put your thumbs up if you sometimes forget to focus your attention and stop to listen to the directions. I've done that before, where I didn't stop and focus to the directions that were being given to me. So if you were in Brianna's shoes, what would you do if you looked up and everybody was doing something different from you? Think about it. What would you do? I'm going to give you a few minutes. Okay. So while you're thinking about what you would be doing, I'm going to tell you what Brianna did. Brianna decides to ask the teacher to tell her again. She remembers to use her attentoscope. She switches it on by saying focus to herself. This time she really listens to all the directions. She looks at the teacher and keeps thinking about the teacher's words. Brianna's teacher asks her to repeat the directions. This helps Brianna remember just what to do. Listening is more than just hearing sounds. It is thinking about the words and then remembering them. Brianna uses many body parts for listening and remembering directions. She uses her ears, her eyes, and her brain. Brianna keeps repeating the directions quietly to herself as she returns to her desk to start her work. Put your thumbs up if you ever quietly repeat the words to yourself or say them over and over in your head to remember. I know I do. Sometimes I have to repeat the directions that were given to me in order for me to remember. And not loudly. We don't repeat loudly where everyone can hear us, but quietly so we can still help other people and other friends and classmates to focus and follow directions completely. Okay, so this is Brianna's story, and we're going to put that up. So now that we learned about following directions and how repeating directions can help us stay focused, we are going to bring back our two special guests because they're going to show us the same game that we played earlier, but with some new fun tricks, all right? So hello, Mr. Puppy, Mr. Snell, welcome back. So we are going to play the same game, but we're gonna add a new rule. So now each time that Mr. Snell tells you to do something and he says your turn, before you do the direction that Mr. Snell gives you to do, you have to repeat the direction and then do it, okay? So let's do a practice round. So Mr. Snell, you're gonna talk to Mr. Puppy, okay? All right, touch your belly with your head. Your turn. Touch my belly with my head. Okay, perfect. So that was a great example. Thank you, Puppy. So now, remember that before Mr. Snell tells you to do something and he says your turn, you have to repeat the direction and then do it, all right? So let's play the game. Mr. Snell, take it away. Touch your head. Your turn. Okay, so I hoped you repeated the direction and then you touched your head. Okay, if you did that, great, good, focusing and using your listening skills in order to follow the directions correctly. All right, Mr. Snell, Mr. Puppy, touch your toes. Your toe. Remember, we're not listening to Mr. Puppy, so I hope you didn't touch your toes or repeat the direction because we're not listening to Mr. Puppy. All right, Mr. Snell. Touch your tummy. Your turn. Okay, I hope you repeated the direction and then touch your belly. And if you did, great, following directions. If not, it's okay. You can get it next time. All right, Mr. Puppy. Touch your bug. Okay, well, Mr. Puppy didn't say your turn, but it doesn't matter because remember, we're not listening to Mr. Puppy. So if you didn't listen, if you didn't repeat the direction, good job. All right, Mr. Snow, one more time. Touch your mouth. Okay. Well, Mr. Snow didn't say your turn, so I hope you didn't repeat the direction and do it anyway. Remember, because we have to really listen and focus onto what Mr. Snow had to say before we could even repeat the direction. All right, well, thank you, Mr. Puppy and Mr. Snow, for showing us this new part of the game. You're welcome. All right, we'll see you guys next time, okay? Maybe you can come back. All right. Okay, so perfect. So we learned about this new game where we had to repeat the directions in order to help us focus and follow the directions. So hopefully that helped you. We also learned about how the 4 listening skills help us to focus and our attentive scope, and how we use all those skills in order to be able to follow directions. And that even if you need extra help in having to repeat the directions, or even say focus to yourself to kind of keep you grounded and remind you to be still and use your listening skills, that is okay. So I hope you can use these skills of repeating directions to help you remember them, and all our 4 listening skills, so you can follow directions completely when your parents are giving you directions, or teachers, or anybody that's supposed to be giving you directions for you to follow them correctly. So good luck with using your new skill, and I hope you have fun using this new game with your cousins, with your brothers and sisters, and any friends that you see. All right, so I will see you guys next time.